Hi guys and welcome back. Today we're going to break down Canada's Express Entry platform and explain each of its three component parts in detail. We've already done a video giving a quick overview of Express Entry. You can check out the link above to watch it, but this video is a much more thorough examination of it, including detailed requirements for all three streams, how to apply, and how the process works in practice. Express Entry is the most popular way to move to Canada, and it's Canada's way of selecting skilled workers to immigrate.
The basics of Express Entry are that it is a points-based system, so there's not much luck involved. If you have more points, you're more likely to be selected. Across all three Express Entry programs, you are awarded points based on four basic areas: your age, education, work experience, and language ability in French and/or English. Once you have your points total, you are entered into a pool of candidates, and the Canadian Immigration Services conduct draws from this pool, selecting all candidates at or above a certain number of points. We'll talk more later on in the video about the regularity of these draws and how many points you generally need to be selected.
Within Express Entry, there are three programs: Federal Skilled Worker Program, Federal Skilled Trades Program, and Canadian Experience Class. Now, each one has different requirements, but all three programs are still based on the four basic areas, which once again are age, education, work experience, and language ability in French and/or English. We'll go through all four areas for all three programs, so by the end of this video, you should understand which program is best for you, and most importantly, what your chances of being selected are.
Before we go any further, we're going to start with three key definitions which are important for all three Express Entry programs. Firstly, CRS points. This stands for Comprehensive Ranking System, and Comprehensive Ranking System points are the points you gain for the four basic areas. The more points you have, the more likely you are going to be selected from the pool of Express Entry candidates, and that's true for all three Express Entry programs. The second term we're going to use is CLB levels, or Canadian Language Benchmarks. The CLB levels are measurements of your language ability. We've got a video all about language tests for moving to Canada, so click the link above to see it. The final term we'll be using is NOC codes, National Occupation Classifications. This is the system by which the Canadian government defines and ranks your occupation in terms of desirability to Canada. So, to summarise, CRS points are the basic Express Entry ranking points, CLB levels are measurements of your language ability, and NOC codes are how your occupation is defined and quantified. You'll find links to more information about CRS points, CLB levels, and NOC codes in the description below. First things first, to apply through Express Entry, you first need to find out whether you are eligible to apply through Express Entry. And we'll put a link to this in the description box below. What you do is you complete a series of questions on the government website, and these things are based on your nationality, your age, your language ability, your family members, your education, your work experience, and any details on your job offer. You are allocated a series of points for all of these abilities, and if you gain 67 points or more out of a possible 100, you will be eligible to apply for Express Entry, and the tool on the website will also give you an idea of which program you might be eligible for.
Before going into detail on each program, bear in mind that in order to immigrate to Canada via Express Entry, you must not be inadmissible to Canada. You could be inadmissible if you've got any sort of criminal record, or if you have medical issues which may threaten Canadian citizens or place an undue strain on the Canadian healthcare system. If you are unable or unwilling to support yourself financially, you can also be found to be inadmissible, and if you provide any false information to the Canadian immigration authorities, you may also be barred from Express Entry. Finally, if you have a family member who is inadmissible, then this may also cause you some problems. Basically, if you've got no criminal record or serious health issues and you're able to earn a living in a definable profession, there should be nothing stopping you.
So, onto the first Express Entry program, the Federal Skilled Worker Program. This is the system through which we came to Canada. So, after going through it ourselves and after all the disruption caused by COVID, we feel like we understand it pretty well. The Federal Skilled Worker Programme is for skilled workers with foreign work experience who want to immigrate to Canada permanently, and it's the most popular express entry programme.
The minimum requirements to apply as a federal skilled worker are, firstly, that you've done paid work in either a managerial job, a professional job, a technical job, or a skilled trade for at least 1 full year in the past 10 years. There's obviously a little more detail involved than what I've just described, but that's the basics. For more detailed information, click the link below in the description box.
Language-wise, you need to achieve at least a CLB 7 in an approved language test of your reading, writing, speaking and listening in either French or English. CLB, just to remind you, is Canadian Language Benchmark. In terms of education, you must have at least a high school diploma, and we should add you'll need to have your educational credentials formally evaluated and pay for it. And finally, you will need a valid job offer from a Canadian employer or proof that you have enough money to support yourself and any dependents during the process of moving to Canada.
If you meet those criteria, you'll then be awarded points based on your age, education, work experience, whether you have a job offer, your language ability, and your adaptability, which is essentially a measurement of how well it is deemed you'll settle in Canada. An example of adaptability is whether you have close family in Canada or some other tie to the country, which means that you're more likely to stay here long term.
Once you've had all of those things assessed, you'll have a CRS points total and you'll go into the express entry pool along with all the other candidates. When the Canadian authorities do a draw from this pool, you'll be selected if you have more points than the cut-off score that they've determined. Just to give you some idea, there have historically been virtually no draws which have a cut-off of a score below 400 CRS points. So, as COVID has reduced the number of draws, the cut-off scores have been creeping up and up over the past couple of years. The express entry pool is still growing, but it's not been emptying at anywhere near the same rate. So right now, early 2022, you'll probably need in excess of 500 points to be selected in future draws. Around 3,000 people are taken per draw. And one final thing to say is that you can't live in Quebec if you come to Canada through the Federal Skilled Worker Programme. Quebec selects its own skilled workers through its own programme, and we've put a link below if you want to learn more about that.
The next express entry programme is the Federal Skilled Trades Programme. The minimum requirements for this programme are as follows. Firstly, you'll need at least 2 years of full-time work experience in the last 5 years in an eligible trade. The eligible trades are industrial, electrical and construction trades, maintenance and equipment operation trades, supervisors and technical jobs in natural resources, agriculture and related production, processing, manufacturing and utilities supervisors, and central control operators, chefs and cooks, and finally, butchers and bakers. The final requirement is that you'll either need a valid job offer from a Canadian employer or proof that you can support yourself and any dependents during the process of moving to Canada. There are no education requirements for the Federal Skilled Trades Programme.
If you've got all the prerequisites, you'll then need to apply to the province you want to live in and get them to assess your trade. Each province does this slightly differently, but if you click on the link we've inserted below about Federal Skilled Trades, then scroll to the bottom of the page and you'll find links to each province and territory in Canada with details of their system. Like the Federal Skilled Worker Programme, the Federal Skilled Trade Programme doesn't permit you to live in Quebec, but all other provinces and territories are available through this programme.
The third and final programme in Express Entry is Canadian Experience Class. To qualify for this, you need at least 1 year of full-time paid work experience in Canada in the last 3 years and CRB level 5 or 7, depending on your job, in either French or English. Like the Federal Skilled Trades Programme, there is no education requirement. The key here is that the work experience you have in Canada must have been gained while you were legally in the country on some sort of temporary visa. What you can't do is just come here and work illegally and then go and claim Canadian residence off the back of that illegal work. You also can't work if you're here on a visitor permit, so you need to be able to legally work in Canada for that work experience to count.
So that's the 3 express entry schemes. The process begins when you compile all the relevant documents for your chosen scheme, then submit your application. At this point, if everything is in order, you'll go into the express entry pool. The Canadian Immigration Authorities then conduct draws periodically from this pool, and you just have to wait to be drawn. Sometimes they do draws across all 3 programs, sometimes they only draw from one specific program. Pre-COVID, these draws were every 2 weeks. We've put a link below showing the history of the express entry draws, but they're now a little more random, and we'll just have to wait and see how things pan out as the pandemic recedes.
Once you've been drawn from the pool, you have 60 days from being selected to submitting a complete application with medicals and biometrics, which will have to be given at an approved centre. Having submitted that complete application, you then wait to hear from the Canadian authorities. Now, processing times have grown hugely since the pandemic, as we know, but they are beginning to come down again, and the Canadian government are aiming to get them down to an average of 6 months.
One more thing before we go. Some of the provincial nominee programs, or PNPs, have streams which are linked to express entry. If you know which province or territory you want to move to, then trying to get a provincial nomination can be a great way of immigrating to Canada. We've got a playlist with 12 videos outlining all of the 12 PNP schemes, so check those out for more information. And by the way, if you're wondering why there are 12 PNP schemes and not 13, it's because none of it doesn't have a provincial nominee program, but all of the other provinces and territories do.
So there we have it, the 3 streams of express entry and what you need to be eligible for them. We hope it's been useful, and good luck with moving to Canada. Before you make it here, hit that subscribe button to get a steady stream of Canada-related information and entertainment every Sunday and Wednesday. See you next time.